Uh, I've gotten to know Miss DiPolito and her family over the past couple years, and our spiritual faith and bond has gotten us through this case, because when I arrived here from California, I can count on one finger the number of people in this country who felt we even had a chance in this case. I feel like we've been up against the world in this case, with nobody ever believing in the message that we had to send in this case to not only this community, but to the country. That there are rules that law enforcement has to follow. And there was a moral principle in this case that at least 3 of these jurors received. And that is that when you sign up to protect and serve the community, you have to abide by the rules. And you can't break the rules for your own self-interest. And you can't use a young woman like Dalia DiPolito as a pawn to put your self-interest above constitutional rights. I took this case for 2 reasons. Number one, from the moment I spoke to Dalia DiPolito on the phone, I believed her 100% that she never, ever intended on killing her husband. Because I don't take a case that I don't believe in. And Mr. Rosenfeld doesn't take a case. And we don't go to trial unless we believe in our client and believe in our case. The second reason why I took this case is because in my heart, I'm a civil rights lawyer. And there were many civil rights violations in this case by the Boynton Beach Police Department. This was a platform for us to bring about positive change in the community. We revere good police officers. This case isn't about putting down all law enforcement. There are a lot of good police officers out there, and we embrace them. But in this case, it was about a handful of police officers who were not following the rules, who were rogue. And this second trial was vastly different than the first trial because we dug down deep and got evidence. We got proof of police misconduct. We didn't come here with some fictional story. We came here armed with evidence of rules and policies that law enforcement has to follow. And we heard from the jury today. And by the way, we have mixed feelings by this mistrial. We're not here to celebrate. We have mixed feelings. On one hand, we are encouraged that our moral message of holding law enforcement accountable was received. That is progress in this case, but it's not the final chapter. The other mixed feelings we have are we wanted a not guilty verdict. So on one hand, we are encouraged that our message is being received by the community, but on the other hand, our hope was for full vindication and a not guilty verdict.
Mr. Capel, can you talk about just what you were feeling, hearing that the jurors were even split not guilty?
We showed today that we were not afraid to poll this jury. You heard Judge Kelly say that it's not typical, especially from the defense side, to ask for the jury to be polled. We wanted to know the truth today. We wanted to know whether there was more than one juror in this case who felt our argument, who believed that it's more important to follow the rules. And that's why we asked for that polling today. And to hear that it was 3-3, in many respects, validated the arguments that we made in a heartfelt fashion in this case. That when you take that badge and you have taken an oath and an honor to protect people in this community, that you can't manufacture crime for your own self-interest, that you can't break rules and lie and destroy evidence and then benefit from that. Our whole theme in this case, just to be clear, is those videotapes that the whole world has watched, they are the result of improper and illegal police practices. And as a result, those videos are contaminated. And we can't go around in this country convicting defendants with evidence that is contaminated. That's not what the Constitution stands for.
Does a mistrial go down as a win?
The mistrial is a partial victory for us. There's no question that when we started this case, nobody believed that we could even ever get a mistrial. And in fact, in the first case, I believe the jury deliberated 45 minutes total and came back and convicted Ms. DiPolito. So in many respects, this is a moral victory, but it's not a complete victory. We feel like this mistrial and a 3-3 jury verdict count is a validation that we are making progress, but it is not a complete victory yet. A complete victory is going to be a not guilty verdict in this case.
Do you expect that there will be another trial?
We're ready. We are absolutely ready for round 3.
They will retry this.
Well, good. Tell them we can't wait. Tell them. Great, fantastic.
Her infant son, we learned that she's a mother.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, we're not going to comment on the. You heard today in court, Dalia DiPolito has a little boy, and that's all we're going to comment about.
If I can add a few comments, bro.
Sure.
If I could just make a few quick comments. I'm going to share Mr. Claypool's sentiments. I myself am a criminal defense attorney. I believe from the bottom of my heart in the presumption of innocence. I took this case pro bono because when I met Ms. DiPolito, I knew the media sentiment on her, I knew the community sentiment on her, and nobody gave her a chance. I was told this is a slam dunk case for the state, but I knew immediately when I met Ms. DiPolito that she was set up by the police, that they manufactured a crime, and that she was not given a fair shot, that she was presumed guilty. And we went in there, we fought and sacrificed more than any of you can imagine to give her her day in court, and she got her day in court, and we are ready for round 3.
Hey, Dalia, the police set you up in this case.
Right now, just
Pardon?
According to the prosecutors, Dalia, the police set you up in this case. You got to take some personal offense to that. What are your thoughts on the government trying to set you up, Dalia?
Well, Dalia is not going to speak, but I'll speak for her. This trial was actually a learning experience for her. She now has seen the truth, because in that first trial, we didn't have a lot of the evidence that we now had in this trial. So this was an eye-opening experience for her too. Remember, the state in this case simply wanted to give the community the final chapter in the book. They didn't want to put those videotapes and those audio tapes in the proper context. We told, in this case, the complete story, and we put those videos and audio tapes in the proper context, that there was a 72-hour window to make this a good episode for cops, that there was a frenzy from the police department to get her on tape. And in many respects, ironically, Ms. DiPolito saw the truth unfold in this case, and she's not happy about it. But the biggest irony in this case is I've heard nothing but everybody talking about, oh, the first case was, you all were talking about reality TV. Well, guess what? The irony today is this. In the first trial, state prosecutors may have benefited from a reality show defense, but in the end, they're facing the truth of a 3-3 hung jury because of reality TV. They now are suffering from reality television because we'll go to our grave knowing that the Boynton Beach Police Department manufactured this alleged crime for one reason, to make good reality TV, and it backfired.
If she testified in her own defense, do you think you could have gotten a not guilty verdict had she taken the stand?
There was no reason for Dalia DiPolito to testify in this case, because by the time we had to make that decision, we had already proven a colossal amount of evidence of an abuse of power by this police department and civil rights violations. So there's nothing at that point that she would have added. And further, the burden of proof is on the state. It's not on us. So, and Dalia made that final decision. That was her decision.
Do you think the state made a mistake in not putting on more evidence? They only had 2 witnesses.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, look, everybody can try to Monday morning quarterback the state attorneys, but look, they are 2 seasoned trial lawyers. They're good lawyers, and in my opinion, they put on the best evidence that they had in this case. They had videotapes and they had audio tapes, and we were up against a very, very noble group of lawyers. There's nothing personal. We had some personal issues during the trial, but these are 2 very good trial lawyers, and they did not miss a beat when it came to those audio tapes and those videotapes and highlighting for the jury what was said in those tapes to try to portray Dalia Dippolito in a negative light. So for people now to start blaming this 3-3 hung jury on the state, that's not fair. I think what the media and the community needs to start focusing on is not what we did or didn't do, or not what the state did or didn't do. They need to focus on the message that's starting to resonate, not only here, but across the country. This is a national issue, that law enforcement has to follow rules. When you start breaking the rules to get evidence to send somebody to jail, that's not acceptable in our country. We have constitutional rights. That's what this case was about. And we are making progress. We're gaining traction on that argument. And if the state doesn't want to go home and think about whether there should be a round 3, I was hoping they'd do that. But if they want to be telling you right now they want round 3, then bring it on. We'll continue to send this message across the country.
I see Dalia's mom reacting emotionally. Dalia, how are you feeling about seeing your son tonight? I mean, your mom is obviously very relieved for you, but Dalia, can you answer?
She's not
about how
commenting.
you're going to feel about seeing your son? I mean, she has to feel something, right?
Again, Dalia's not going to comment. She's a loving parent. She is a loving parent. And I will tell you, having gotten to know her and her mom, I can't do what I do in the courtroom unless I believe in the people that I represent. This is a spiritual family. Nobody ever gets to see the other side of this family. They are a loving, caring family, and they believe in God, and God got us through this. We were in prayer. We had open prayer in the hallway twice yesterday, waiting for that jury to come back, because we put this in God's hands.
Mr. Claypool, it is such an explosive allegation that the police department took these elaborate measures and steps to set somebody up.
Let me take
Do
that
you
one.
think moving forward, some sort of action should be taken against the Boynton Beach Police Department, some sort of civil action? Do you think a review is necessary, or does it end here with this criminal case?
I think there should be a review, a formal
That's
review.
absolutely right.
I think that you heard from a honorable officer, and that was former Sergeant Frank Ranzi, who came in and testified about the truth. He came in and he exposed the corruption, exposed the violation of policy after policy after policy. And that answers your question right there. Yes, there should be a formal review, because there are good law enforcement officers, and we're not denying that. There are plenty of good law enforcement officers, but Boynton Beach Police Department, what they did is so egregious and so disgusting, to manufacture a murder for hire for the purpose of a cops television show, and that has to stop.
Yeah, this is as bad as it gets. This sets a terrible precedent for law enforcement nationwide, unless there is some type of independent investigation that's undertaken of the Boynton Beach Police Department. We established for the first time in this case, and by the way, we didn't even know about this till it happened, that the Boynton Beach Police Department had audio tape of that Chili's encounter. They had it, and they destroyed it. And you heard two witnesses in this case say that their conduct was illegal. So a police department has engaged in illegal conduct. They've destroyed evidence, all in an attempt to toss this young lady in jail for 20 years, all for their self-interest, to promote their own police department. We need an independent investigation of this police department to get to the bottom of this corruption, to make sure that it, number one, is corrected, and number two, this doesn't happen again, not only here in your folks' community, but everywhere across this country.
How do you approach the next trial, trial number 3?
And trying to, what's happening this week to like rush to figure out how to attack this.
I think we arrested this one.
Right now, we're not thinking about a third trial. We are absorbing the moment that we have made immense progress in this case. We've gone from slam dunk to 45 minutes of deliberation in the first case to a day and a half of deliberation in the second case, and a 3-3 verdict. We are making progress in getting our message out. That's what we are going to focus on. That's the silver lining in this hung jury.
So staying on message, or do you play another card? Do you still have a card that you haven't played yet? Or do you stick with the same message?
We have not even, we're not even thinking right now about a third trial, respectfully.
For those who would say, Casey Anthony, George Zimmerman, Dalia Dippolito, how do you respond to that?
This is not about This is not about people in Florida not getting it right. That's not what this case is about. This case is not about the state attorney didn't put on enough evidence. They were incredible lawyers and did a great job. It's not about we didn't do enough. What this 3-3 hung jury tells us is members of this community and across the country are understanding a global message of law enforcement not abusing their power. That's what we are doing with this case. And we will continue to do that until we bring about the necessary change. And Dalia Dippolito happens to be the platform in which we are going to continue to bring that change about.
We've seen across the country an anti-police sentiment. What role do you believe this played in this trial?
The climate of our country always plays a role in how a jury responds to a factual pattern. And make no mistake about it, the past couple years especially, we've seen young men across this country who arguably have been unnecessarily killed by law enforcement. We've heard about cases of cover-ups among law enforcement nationwide. So right now, that proves our point. We actually do have a problem in this country that we have to face with making sure that we have honorable police officers and building and bridging that gap among law enforcement and people and building trust. This, by bringing out the corruption in this case with law enforcement, we believe that that is bridging the gap between the public and law enforcement. So there's a bigger cause in this case.
Do you believe you could have a fair trial again here in Palm Beach County?
You wanna,
One day at a time.
Yeah,
One day at a time.
I mean, we think, look at what happened this morning with one of the local news stations publishing what they believe to be was the juror count in this case. That is an example of irresponsible media. Make no mistake about it. I'm not going to comment who did it, but that is not responsible for the media to be doing that. That underscores Mr. Rosenfeld's argument that he made from day one, which was, can we really get a fair and impartial jury pool in Palm Beach County? So the media has to be responsible in this case too. But in terms of if there is a third trial, we are not focusing right now on where it's going to be. What we're focusing on is how we can better bolster our message and get that out there in round 3.
Do you think the defense of what the police did would have been as successful in 2011 before the political climate was what it is right now in light of these shootings and all that?
If these same arguments were made in 2011, I think there may have been a different result in the first trial. Okay. By the way, when we got involved in this case, the evidence that you saw in our case, we had zero of that. There was none of that evidence in the first trial. We dug deeply. We fought to get evidence. I took depositions of police officers in a conference room at this courthouse that nobody knows about. We did multiple Public Record Act requests to get those policies and procedures from the Boynton Beach Police Department.
And we're still finding more evidence. Throughout the trial,
right.
we still found more evidence that we have for next trial,
Yes.
exposing more corruption, more lies by these officers during this trial. We have found more evidence that shows that some of these officers were untruthful in their testimony. And we're going to find more evidence. We're not going to stop our investigation. We're going to keep going.
And by the way, if there is a third trial, we now have some perjured testimony by one or more of their witnesses. So if they're so eager to do a round 3, then they're going to have to face this perjured testimony by witnesses that they're going to be calling in round 3.
Who are those witnesses?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Would there possibly be a civil case out of this? And is that something that you would be working on?
We're not, absolutely. A civil case has absolutely never entered anybody's mind. We are focused 100% on vindicating Ms. Dippolito and getting her a not guilty verdict. Again, today, with a 3-3 vote, when nobody gave us a shot in you know what, and everybody around this country said 2 words, slam dunk, we've made progress. We've made progress. And we're prepared, as Mr. Rosenfeld said, if we've got to go round 3, we'll do it. And we plan on winning that case as well. We're not here for a consolation prize.
Mr. Claypool, what happens next with your client? Does she stay at home on house arrest, best to your knowledge?
Yes, Dahlia has been on house arrest.
Correct.
Yes.
And she will stay on house arrest until this January.
We could potentially file a motion to modify the terms of her pretrial release. That's something we'll have to discuss,
Right.
you know,
That
going
January 6th
forward.
hearing?
Yes,
Right.
or beforehand.
Brian, can you point to a particular moment, maybe that was a defining moment for you in this trial, where you thought to yourself, I got inside of the minds of these jurors here?
Mohammed Shahade. The state didn't call him. He is the confidential informant on this investigation. The state doesn't call the confidential informant. Mr. Rosenfeld tracks him down. We call him. Hey, can you get to the court in 30 minutes? He arrives in shorts and a t-shirt and tennis shoes? Gets up on that stand and he told you the truth. He told those jurors the truth. That was the turning point. And two things he said. Two things in this case I think that were the turning point for at least 3 of those jurors. Number one, he did not want to be in on this investigation and was threatened by the law enforcement to be prosecuted. Number two, bombshell in this case, that Chili's encounter between Dahlia and Mohammed just before she goes in with the undercover cop, it was recorded. That was proved in this case through Mohammed. That was a bombshell in this case because that allowed us to argue that this police department lied about a malfunction with the wire, and then they lied about it not existing. Instead, they destroyed that audio tape.
And let's not forget former Sergeant Frank Ranzi's testimony that the mistakes in this case compromised the integrity of the entire investigation.
Is there anyone from Dahlia's family to share a few words with us?
Relief or a sense of.
Rhonda, do you want to say anything?
You don't have to.
Thank God. You just, no? You okay?
Not at this
No, the
time.
family doesn't want to speak, but thank you all.
What's your first name, please?
Oh, Greg.
G-R-E-G.
Yes.
And then if we're done, we do want to thank the media because you guys have been here from day one, and we've tried to make ourselves available to keep the community informed. So we do want to thank the media for covering this case. It's a very important message. Thank you.